Hey, welcome to the Conversations podcast with Mike and Steph, where we believe conversations create change. I am so excited because we are launching season 2,
Season 2, baby.
episode 1.
So excited.
Let's go. How are you feeling?
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we have missed you guys so much. We know that we've taken some time, but we've been taking some time because we've been planning, dreaming, thinking, preparing, and we're super excited for everything that's to come in season 2. Hey, if this is your first time following or watching, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok because we're cool. There's Spotify,
Apple Podcasts, all the things.
all the things. But we hope that you guys have been doing well. We just want to say thank you so much for following us on the journey of season 1. We are so grateful for your support, all the comments, the DMs, the emails, the conversations that we've been having, even in between the season.
Yeah.
Has been absolutely amazing. We're so grateful for the support. And we just want to say thank you so much for just joining us in on the conversation. For those of you who are watching for the first time, we believe conversations create change. The heart behind this podcast is to bring you guys in on some of the conversations that Steph and I just have together because they've helped us. And our hope, our dream and desire is that it would help you as well.
Yeah. And it'll help you also have conversations on your own,
Right.
create conversations in your own life,
Right.
with your family, with your spouse, with your friends,
Yep.
that hopefully would initiate some sort of change, some vulnerability, some depth, add some depth to your relationships.
Yeah.
And so we're excited for this new season.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a specific topic
Yeah.
that we feel is very much the season of our life that we're in right now. And I think most people are always sort of in this kind of season. Everybody's either going through this season, you just got out of it, but you're about to re-enter it. We're going to talk about a waiting season.
Yeah.
A waiting season. In fact, I really like the way that you titled this conversation. You called it the weight of the wait.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
It doesn't matter what you're waiting for. It could be you're waiting for a healing. You're
Mhm.
waiting for a restoration of a relationship. You're waiting for your marriage to get better. You're waiting for a new job. You're waiting to realize a dream. You're
Right.
waiting for, a parent. You're waiting for a child. I mean, you can be waiting for so many things. And while you are in that waiting season, it can almost feel like a weight on your shoulder that
Yep.
is not allowing you to move forward.
Absolutely.
And so we just want to talk about the weight of
Yep.
the wait,
Mhm.
and how you can wait well
Absolutely.
and how to navigate a season of waiting.
Yeah, and how we believe that the wait is actually for your blessing.
Yeah.
It's actually not there to destroy you, but the heaviness that you're carrying in the waiting season is actually there to make you stronger.
Yeah, to prepare you.
Yeah, to prepare you. In fact, I remember when I was like 16 years old, I gave my life to Jesus for the first time. I started going to church. I said this in season 1, but the day that I gave my life to Jesus and walked into a church for the first time was the day that I met my best friend, who will soon be the girl that I would marry. You always knew that we were going to get married
Oh
because
my
you had a crush on me
gosh,
first.
that's not
But
true.
it's okay. We don't have to talk about it. But one of the things that I just I remember when I experienced Jesus for the first time, I felt like things made sense. I think for the first time, I felt like I experienced purpose.
Mm.
I grew up in a very broken home. I didn't grow up with parental figures who gave a heavy set of guidance and direction because as immigrants, they were trying to figure out their own life as well.
Yeah.
So I felt like I lacked purpose. I remember being 16, 17, not knowing what I was going to do with my life. But when I met Jesus, it became extremely clear to me that I want to serve him for the rest of my life. Like I felt this immediate call into pastoral ministry. In fact, the way that it happened for me, I had a friend when I first gave my life to Jesus and I started my whole faith journey, who would encourage me. She would say, "Hey, why don't you just pray and just ask God to reveal your calling to you? Ask God to reveal your calling to you." And I remember I was walking through my high school gym. It was right before practice, basketball practice, and I was just praying, "God, what is it that you want me to do for the rest of my life?" And I think it's only been one time where this has happened to me, but I felt like he literally gave me a vision of a church.
Mm.
And that's when I knew that I am called to pastor.
It's beautiful.
So I received a calling when I was 16 to pastor. And then I had a youth pastor and many pastors, even outside of my youth pastor, who would always affirm this calling over my life. You're going to be a pastor. You're going to preach one day. You're going to disciple people and help people. and it became it was my dream. It
Mhm.
was literally my God dream. So I knew I was going to graduate high school. I was going to go to Bible college. I was going to get my Bible degree, and then right after I got my Bible degree, I was going to get hired at a church that I was serving at, and then I was going to be a pastor there. And I just had this entire plan, and life didn't go the way that it planned. I graduated Bible college at 22. I started seeing all my friends around me getting hired as pastors, and I was just serving at the church and leading bivocationally. And I remember that that was the first time where I felt like I was in a waiting season.
Yeah.
I was waiting on the dream to happen.
Mm.
I was waiting on the vision to come to pass. And it was a waiting season. It
Yeah.
was a waiting season. Now, the reason that we say a waiting season, not a waiting moment, is because sometimes waiting, sometimes you can wait a short amount of time,
Mhm.
and then other times you can wait where it feels like an eternity. That's what we mean when we say a season.
Yeah.
So there's this verse in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 that says this. It says, to everything there is a season, there is a time for every purpose under heaven. I love how it says that there is a season and a time for every purpose. Living in Florida, we don't have a ton of seasons. I wish that it snowed. I think you're pretty happy that it doesn't snow.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're not a fan of
I actually think it gets really cold here in Orlando.
You're out of your mind. You're absolutely crazy. But right now we're in the middle of summer, and summer is beautiful right now because my grass has made a comeback, baby. It has made a comeback.
Wait, but we got to give some context why
do you-
it came back.
What do you mean?
Well, we received a letter from our HOA
Yeah, we don't want to talk about.
because you
those-
were so mad.
Yeah, the mafia.
Because our grass was dead.
Yeah, it was
Like it was dead.
pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I just
Yeah, like there was some
Sahara
other
Desert dead.
there was like other houses where it's like, okay, you could tell we're like in the winter. But ours was like, there's no way this is gonna come to life.
Right.
So our HOA sent us a letter that we had to resod our entire house.
Yeah, I can't stand them.
And you were not happy about that
I
because that was
didn't.
gonna be very expensive.
So I went to Ace Hardware. I bought a bunch of cow manure called black cow. I smelled like poop for a
You
month.
smelled like cow manure for
Whatever.
like
I laid that thing down all over our grass, and boom, our
no,
grass
we had
is
to
amazing.
wait. Then we had to wait.
We did. We had to wait.
We had to wait. You had to water it.
I did.
Yeah.
But summer came, and
Yeah.
it made it easier because of the sun, the rain. Our magnolia tree in the front yard was like, that thing was looking dead, and it just came back to
I
life.
was like, is that a magnolia tree?
Yeah. Or it looks more like a cactus. Our garden was completely dead. And but because of the summer,
Yeah.
because of the season that it was in, we saw blossom, we saw bloom, we saw growth.
I'm not
right?
gonna lie though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember in the middle of that, I kept telling you there's no way you're gonna bring those plants back to life.
Uh-huh.
I kept telling you there is no. I didn't believe.
You of little faith.
I
You,
know.
you of little faith.
Yeah.
So in the summer we see blossom and we see bloom, right?
Yeah.
And then the winter's a completely different season. In the winter, what do we see? We see death.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it's blooming or blossoming. Trees begin to dry, plants begin to dry. But just because you don't see anything on the surface doesn't mean that God's not working.
That's right.
In the winter season, it's not really dying, it's actually getting stronger. The roots underneath are getting stronger.
Yeah.
Right? So there is a purpose to every season. And if you're in a waiting season, one of the biggest mistakes that we can make is to not have awareness on the kind of season that we're in, because if not, we will fail to draw strength from that season.
That's so good. Yeah. I think a lot of times we think that waiting is passive,
Right?
right? And waiting is rarely passive. A lot of us, we think that we associate waiting to like sitting in a lobby of a doctor's office and we're like scrolling on our phones and we're just waiting for time to pass, waiting until the doctor calls us. But that's actually not the way that a waiting season draws out emotionally. Emotionally, waiting actually feels a lot like anxiety. It feels like grief. For a lot of people, it can feel like comparison because they're, looking at everyone else thriving and they're
Right.
comparing themselves. And what happens to us in a waiting season is that our nervous system is slightly activated,
Mhm. Mhm.
and so we're constantly kind of like on guard.
Right.
We're constantly experiencing this sense of of anxiety. And when our nervous system is slightly activated, what happens is that we have an inability to stay grounded in the here and now.
Correct.
So we think that we're stuck, but waiting is not stuckness.
Hmm.
Waiting, there's a process in the waiting. And I think it's so important for us to remember that the waiting season doesn't have to break us. What it does is that it reveals things to us.
Right.
It reveals the parts of our life and of our soul that maybe needs safety. It reveals to us maybe the patterns that we've got to work through and we've got to change and we've got to get better. It reveals to us our view of God and our view of ourselves, right? Because when we're waiting and sometimes we get desperate and sometimes we don't know, there's so much uncertainty and there's so much in life that we don't know what's coming. And it truly reveals to us the things in our life that we actually have to work through to
Correct.
get better on the inside.
Right. Yeah, that's great. I think one of the things too that we have to just identify, I think it'll be a good exercise. Like if you find yourself in a waiting season, what is the thing that you're actually waiting for? Like let's identify that. Because when you identify it, you can work on it, you can prepare for it, and you can also pray for it. Maybe you're waiting for healing. Maybe it's something in your body that you've been asking God to change. Maybe you've been going to the doctors for a long time trying to find some sort of resolution for what your body is facing and it's not getting any better. Maybe it's wanting to start a family. You and your partner have been trying to have kids for the longest time and it just hasn't been happening. Maybe it's finances. Maybe you've been trying to get out of debt for a long time, and as you're trying to get out of debt, there's no way that you can save. Maybe it's a promise, it's a vision of your life. Maybe it's a career goal, it's an opportunity, it's something that you always saw yourself doing. What is the thing that you are actually waiting for? What I've realized is that when we are waiting and we don't wait well, there's a verse in the Bible that says that hope deferred makes the heart grow sick. It can make us angry. It can make us disappointed. Why? Because we're so focused on reaching there that we forget to draw strength from the here and from the now. So sometimes we like to treat waiting seasons like it's something to avoid, but actually, a waiting season is something that we need to embrace.
I think one of the reasons as to why it's so hard for us to embrace this season is because the waiting season can almost bring up or expose the most vulnerable parts of us, the most vulnerable parts of our past. Um, and that feels exposing. It's terrifying, right? Like our body responds to that in a fearful way,
Right.
right? Especially if we come from a past and we've got some trauma that we've dealt with in our life, or we've got some instability that we've walked through in life, or uncertainty that we've had to walk through. A lot of times this waiting season can trigger us.
Right.
And a trigger is something that happens in the present moment that takes us back to a time that was either traumatic, chaotic, uncertain. And it puts us back in that place emotionally and mentally,
Mhm.
So even though we're in a completely different place, this season can put us back on the inside of us, like in those moments before,
Right.
and it can feel like such a vulnerable experience. It can also expose some of our deepest fears, right? Like, am I being forgotten? Does God not love me or care about me? Why isn't this happening to me? Or like we
Right.
start asking ourselves these like big questions that can lead to hopelessness or helplessness,
Right.
right? When we're in this waiting season. And so it's just so important for us to recognize, like, just put words to the reality of this is a season. To
Yep.
everything, there is a season.
With the purpose.
There. So not just a purpose, right? Because, and I've said this, I think I've said this before, probably in a previous episode, and I say this all the time. I don't believe that everything that we go through in life has a purpose, but I do believe that God can give us meaning
Yeah.
for everything
You
that
can
we
draw purpose
experience.
out
We
of it.
can draw meaning from it, I often say, like, I sit across people who have been through horrible things in life,
Mhm.
and I could never say that happened to you for a reason,
Right.
right? But we can draw strength and we can draw meaning and we gain resilience
And
from
create
things that
reason.
we,
Yep.
for the things that we experience in
Right.
life. But this kind of season, it's just so exposing.
Yeah,
It
it
could give
is.
us a sense of powerlessness, but that's not true.
Mhm.
We're not powerless.
Right.
we have to be able to ground ourselves in the present day reality versus trying to look forward and look ahead, and it looks hasty and we don't know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. And that's going to just create anxiety for us.
Yeah, 100%. I think everything that you said was so good. And it just also reminds me that like a waiting season, it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating when the thing that you're hoping for doesn't look anything like your current reality. So when you take your current reality and you hold it up against a vision that you have in your future, sometimes it's like, God, this just feels impossible. How does option A turn into option
The math
B?
is not
The math is
mathing.
not mathing. This is what my life looks like right now. This is what I hope it looks like. And I just I can't see
Yeah.
the path, and we have to treat that's a faith space. That's where we have to make a decision to find our joy in Jesus as we are waiting, and just trusting that he has the power and the ability to bridge that actual gap. But I think for sure, like, I have found myself frustrated, when I have been trying to wait for something. But what I love about this conversation is that I think what we're trying to do is bring proper perspective to the waiting season,
Yeah.
right? Because I think a lot of people are going through a waiting season and they automatically want to tag it as something negative.
Mhm.
And sometimes it is. Like sometimes it's just like a very unfortunate situation and you
Yeah.
find yourself in you're just in a waiting room and just things just feel terrible.
Yeah.
But I think other times we're on waiting seasons, and because we don't have a proper perspective on it, because we don't understand the purpose of that season, because we have awareness, because we lack awareness of the fact that, hey, I could actually be drawing strength in this season,
Yeah.
so I can be set up for the next thing. When we don't have the proper perspective, I honestly think we can lengthen
Mm.
our waiting season,
Yeah.
right? So I think about the Israelites, right, who were enslaved by the Egyptians,
Oh yeah.
and then God
Freeze them.
God frees them, literally sets them free of over 400 years of slavery. And he sets them free to take them somewhere. He's got this promised land for them.
Yeah.
But there is this in-between phase. There is a waiting season.
Yeah.
There is a waiting season that God has them on. And the waiting season is just 40 days.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a 40-day
It was
journey.
supposed to be 40 days.
And by the way, the 40-day journey was necessary
Yeah.
because they were in Egypt for so long that even though they were physically out of Egypt, Egypt was still in them mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
And when you take negative habits into a new season, the new season feels like an old season.
Mhm.
You just don't feel the blessing from it when you haven't been freed from the past.
That's why healing is so important. And
Exactly.
That's why attention is so important. That's why processing and looking back, it's so important. Some people
Yeah.
want to neglect that part.
100%.
But we can't enter into a new season without actually addressing those things, because we're actually just going to recreate.
Yeah, that's a prayer, getting in tune with the creator,
Yeah.
getting aligned with the purpose and the plan that he has for you, like letting him build your character,
Yeah.
right? So it was supposed to be a 40-day journey, but they were complaining so much about the 40 days that they were like, yo, can we just go back to
I was so frustrated reading through that.
can we go back to slavery? Like,
Yeah.
we want to go back there,
Yeah.
And because of their complaints, because they failed to recognize the season that they were in,
Yeah.
they didn't draw the strength that they needed from that season in 40 days. And God turned 40 days into 40 years.
Yeah.
Right? So here's what I've come to understand, that a waiting season is there to prepare you and it's there to develop you.
Yeah.
And when we forsake the development process, when we forsake the preparation process, we're going to keep ourselves in a season that we don't want to be in longer than we need to be.
And I think a good question to ask ourselves there is like, are we complaining?
Yeah.
Or are we
Or are
preparing?
we preparing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bar. Say it again for the people in the back, I feel like that's something that like every single person needs to hear too. Because
Yeah.
I remember when we were young adult pastors, like my favorite thing to do, aside from preaching the gospel, was setting people up. Like,
oh my gosh.
matchmaking.
Your favorite movie.
is Hitch. It will always be
And
Hitch.
you've always wanted to be a matchmaker.
I want to be the real life Hitch. If the job opportunity presents itself, I will stop pastoring. And that will be
You
my
will be a matchmaker.
that I will be a matchmaker, and I will be extremely happy doing it. And we have seen young adults in the young adult ministry get married, which was awesome. But then you meet like a whole bunch of other young adults, just like, oh my God, like I'm never gonna get married. I want a boyfriend, I want a girlfriend, I want a wife, I want a husband, like I want all these things, And then I always ask the question, well, are you the person that the person you're waiting for is waiting for?
Mhm.
Like, are you preparing your like bro, do you have a job?
Do you brush your teeth?
Yeah, like, do you like put on deodorant? Like, how are you preparing yourself? You know, get yourself healthy mentally, physically, emotionally. Go to the gym, go to a therapist. How about you go to church more than just once a month? You know, like, are you preparing yourself to be the person you need to be for the person that you're actually waiting for?
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that I think there's two things that could be true at the same time, right? Like sometimes we're active participants in kind of like you were talking about the Israelites, right? We were
Right,
active participants in prolonging that season. And then there's other times where the season is just long
right.
and there's no end in sight.
Mhm.
I think about myself in the season that I'm in right now with a diagnosis that has no cure,
Right.
you know? I don't think I've ever shared this online, but I have endometriosis
Mm.
and it's brutal. It's
Yeah,
excruciating. It's a
yeah,
chronic illness that I do not wish upon anyone.
yeah.
And it affects so much of my life, the pain and the symptoms and the hopelessness in like there's no cure. And so when I think about that, even in this season that I've been in, which has been quite long, there's no end in sight, right? But I had to shift my perspective at some point because I was that person that felt like, complaining, and rightfully so, honestly. I feel like, the pain is pain and the pain is real. And I complain about the pain, but it was actually distorting my view of God. It was distorting my view of myself and my capability and my, strength. And it just distorted my view of life, like gave me a sense of like powerlessness and hopelessness. And so even when there is no end in sight, even in this season, right? You can really when you go deep, and you can identify, this is the season that I'm in and it's a season, it's not going to be
Right,
forever. You can gain some hope from that. There's nothing that I'm doing to actively prolong this season. This season is just it, you know?
right.
Um, and so to gain a proper perspective, like you have to be able to identify, am I being an active participant in prolonging the season? Am I being an active participant in my own suffering? Or am I doing everything that I can? Am I realigning myself? Am I grounding myself? Am I plugging myself into the right source to gain the strength that I need to go through this season of
Yeah, for
life?
sure. Yeah. And I just want to say, babe, like I've seen you handle this so strong and with grace and with power and with strength. And I've seen you go through the pain, and I just want to honor you for how you have carried this. I've never seen you waver. I've
Mm.
never seen you lose faith.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, but you haven't.
Yeah,
You've always stayed connected to God, even
yeah.
in the midst of that, in the midst of what has felt unfair.
Hmm.
I see you go through your daily Bible, Terrally Cobble, 1 year
Bible
Bible, and
recap.
you encourage me to stay plugged into the Lord. So like I'm impressed and inspired by your
Mm.
strength, by your resilience, by your perseverance. And I feel so blessed to be married to you.
I love
And
you.
just to see like who you are becoming through the pain, right? Like I just to think about what you just said, not everything in your life happens for a purpose,
Hmm.
but the purpose that you have been drawing
Yeah.
and the strength that you have been drawing from this season has been super inspiring to me.
Mm.
Which reminds me that honestly, like life isn't about what you're wanting or what you're waiting for. Life is more about who you're becoming.
Yeah.
And is the person that you're becoming greater than the thing that you're wanting or waiting for?
Yeah.
Because if not, you're going to get the thing and then you're going to wait for the next thing.
Yeah.
And you're never going to find true contentment.
Yeah. Yeah. I think God is just so much more interested in the person that we're becoming through any season than the thing that we are desiring or getting, you
Mhm.
know? And sometimes I think we can idolize the thing.
Right.
And that's another way we contribute to it, right? Like when we idolize the thing and we
Well,
hype this up,
the
right?
dream becomes an idol, the desire
Exactly.
becomes an idol.
Yeah. And then it's actually just never enough,
Right.
you
It's
know?
not it's not enough. There's this verse in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. It's found itself to be very popular because of a Maverick City song.
But it's also my verse. It's my favorite verse.
It is your verse. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." And I feel like that's exactly what I've seen you do. I've seen you run and not get tired. I've seen you walk and not get faint. But I think the key is in that first part. It says, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength." And I think a lot of people get tired in a waiting season because they're waiting on the wrong thing. They're waiting on a thing when they should be waiting on a who. They're waiting for the blessing. They're waiting for the promise. They're waiting for the promotion. They're waiting for the healing. Nothing wrong with desiring those things. But when you wait on those things more than you wait on the Lord, then the wrong thing has your worship. So I just in my personal life, I mean, I'm challenged because I want to wait well. And for me, the way that I wait well, there's dreams and desires and things that I want to accomplish. There's visions that I have of my future that I want to land on. But the way that I wait well is by waiting on the Lord. Why? Because that's where I get the strength. That's where I get the grace. That's where my character is developed. And at the end of the day, like, if those things never happen, is Jesus enough? Is Jesus enough?
Yeah. I think it's important for us to also identify, because I want to be specific.
Yeah.
And I want people to relate and see where they land, right? I think it's important for us to determine what's the difference between waiting well and waiting in unhealthy ways, right? So waiting unhealthy, for example, can look like multiple things. Like, this is where I kind of want to get practical.
Yeah.
Waiting unhealthy can look like you numbing your feelings or eating your feelings and numbing with food. It can look like...
I never do that. Oreos.
Or my Dominican crackers.
Or your Dominican crackers. Okay.
With the guava.
So fire, bro. You brought 10 bags of chips. I ate 9.5 of them.
You literally left me one bag. Okay.
Crazy.
It can look like doom scrolling on social media for hours on time.
I never do that either.
It can look like overworking.
Right.
Never wanting to turn off, because you just want to keep working and avoid the thing that you need to address.
Right.
It can look like obsessively planning for the future. You're like obsessively trying to figure things out on your own. It can look like trying to control everything in order to manage your anxiety. A lot of people completely abandon themselves in a waiting season, and then they try to show up for others so much because they have an inability to show up for themselves and an inability to hold space for their own feelings that come up in a waiting season. And a lot of times when we abandon ourselves and we're constantly trying to gain validation from others, we lose sight of the thing that we actually need from ourselves, from God. And then there's also ruminating. My favorite one, because I struggle with this one.
No.
Ruminating, right? This is an unhealthy way to wait. When you start thinking about, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and you start ruminating on things, on experiences, on something that someone said, on the season that you're in, and you it can get dark very quickly.
Yeah.
So those are some ways. Like, I wonder if we can take, some time to like just self-reflect.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And look at, how do we wait? Like,
Right.
when we are faced with a challenge in life, when we are faced with uncertainty in our life, how do we wait? How do we cope?
Yeah. Exactly.
Are we doing some of these things that I named?
Yeah. Are you running to a vice or to drugs or to alcohol?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And every time we're doing something like that, what we're doing is that we're trying to numb the pain.
Yep.
We don't have the proper skills and we don't have the ability to hold space for all the feelings that come up in the waiting season, And sometimes we actually can revert back to our old ways because we don't know how to wait.
Right.
We don't know how to properly cope with all these feelings that come up for us when life gets hard,
100%.
you
And I
know?
think when we're like going through a waiting season and we experience all those frustrations and we don't wait well, I think I think sometimes we're so focused on the thing that we want
Mhm.
that we forget to be thankful for the things
We do
that we
have.
do have.
Yeah.
And there was a time where we did not have what we have,
Yeah.
you know? It's like I remember when we moved into our first apartment, we're like, "Oh my god,
This is
this is
awesome. It's like a
amazing."
little tiny shoebox.
Had no windows.
No windows. I was so depressed
Our
in there.
apartment complex was like filled with cats.
I swear there was mold in there.
Yeah,
There was definitely
it
mold.
was a prison cell. No, I'm kidding. But when we got there, we loved it.
Yeah, we were so excited.
And then 6 months, we were like, we hate this place, you know?
Yeah.
And then like even now, like
Yeah.
we moved to Orlando.
Yeah.
We bought our first home. Like
Mhm.
great house. We got it. We loved it. And you're sending me houses on Zillow. It's like, wait a second. Like, can we just enjoy the house that we have now?
4 years, okay?
Yeah. So I think sometimes, wow, 4 years. My goodness. Yeah. So I think sometimes, like, when we lack gratitude,
Yeah.
I think it can make the waiting season a lot more difficult. So you bought this book.
Yeah.
His name is Matthias.
Yeah.
And you read the intro to me, and I thought it was brilliant. And I want to read it.
Oh, do it.
Okay. So here's what it said, and I think this will be some good advice, and it'll be helpful in helping us and teaching us how to wait well in a waiting season. So it says this: the reason that you're discontent with your relationship, your job, your appearance, your mental health is because deep down you have a dream that things could be better. You dream of a relationship that feels deeper, more intimate, more reciprocal. You dream of having a relationship in the first place. You dream of a job that you are actually passionate about, that makes you wake up in the morning with some anticipation and energy in your chest. You dream of deeply enjoying your time with your children rather than feeling constantly fatigued, tired, or irritated. Or maybe you dream of getting invited over to your children's home to visit with the grandchildren without having to ask or prod. A dream of feeling wanted and valued. You dream not merely of quitting the substance, but of mastering and calming the anxiety, shame, or grief that animates your cravings. You dream not only of feeling so depressed or lethargic or uncertain, but of experiencing vitality, motivation, and conviction. You have a dream, and a dream that's worth acknowledging and pursuing. And gratitude is not about settling and embracing the status quo. Rather, it presents a path of connecting to your deepest dreams as they exist in the present, not just in their fullest realization out in the future, but here and now.
I love that.
Like, I thought it was like, what a practical
Yeah.
way to wait well on the dream and on the desire. God, you know what? Like, thank you so much for putting this dream in my heart.
Mhm.
God, out of all the people that you could have given this dream to, you made a decision to give me this dream. God, would you develop me? Would you prepare me? Would you anoint me? Would
Mhm.
you heal me?
Yeah.
Would you set me free? Would you break chains off of my past?
Yeah.
God, thank you so much for this dream. Prepare me and make me stronger for it.
Yeah.
How much better would our waiting seasons go if that's the spirit that we carry?
Yeah, I think that's so good. I think that's such a practical way to wait well. It's practicing gratitude. I think another practical way is like practicing presence, like
Yes.
grounding yourself in the present day moment versus obsessing for what hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
And when we ground ourselves in the present day moment, you'd be so surprised to discover the things that you actually have in
Right.
front of you, the little things that you can find joy in, the fact that you can get home and throw yourself on the floor and have fun with your kid, the fact that you have a job to come from,
Yeah.
to come home from, the fact that you have breath in your lungs and you have
Yeah.
the ability to breathe, the fact that you can go outside and you got 2 legs to stand on and walk. Like it's practicing presence without becoming obsessed over the thing that hasn't happened yet. I think another practical way is staying connected to community that's safe.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
plug yourself into a community that is good. So it doesn't have to be a whole lot of people. Like, do you
Yeah.
have one friend, two? There's someone in your life that wants to be there for you.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
practice safe community, like showing up, being vulnerable, opening up to people. You don't want to wait alone because isolation makes the weight feel heavier.
Right.
Like that weight that we feel, it actually makes
Yes.
it feel heavier when we are isolated. And when we
100%.
can just rub shoulders with some people and they can carry the weight for us,
Yes.
it's going to make it lighter and it's going to give us some hope for what's to come.
Definitely.
And I also think that even just like having some practical routines in place that are there to protect your nervous system, right? Like, are you getting enough sleep? Are you waking up at the same time and going to bed at the same time every day, if that's possible? Are you moving your body on a daily basis? Do you incorporate prayer into your life? Like, just some practical ways that we can wait well, because there's so much in the waiting season, there's so much uncertainty, and our bodies are actually not meant to process so much uncertainty that
Right.
puts us in a flight or fight mode, right?
Oh,
And so
wow.
when we can ground ourselves and we can have routines in place, it actually diminishes
That's so
the
good.
amount of things that our brains has to scan for and try to determine in the midst of an uncertain
That
season.
is so, yeah.
Having things that are gonna happen no matter what.
Right.
Like it diminishes the anxiety that we can experience while we're in the wait.
I love what you just said. And there's something that you said that really just sparked a thought on me. And how you mentioned how sometimes waiting seasons can feel lonely and they can feel isolating. But I've learned that they don't have to be isolating and they don't have to be lonely. I remember a couple weeks ago, I just got through preaching on a Sunday. And there's this woman in our congregation. Her name is Susan. And she's 95 years old. She is the smallest little thing ever, but she is as strong as a horse, And after service, she came up to me and she's the best encourager. And she always gives me like the best words. And it was so timely because she gave it to me in a time where I was feeling lonely because of the waiting season that I'm in and the things that I'm praying for. And then she just randomly started talking to me about Moses and how Moses was in the wilderness for 40 years taking care of sheep, and how God appeared to Moses in this burning bush. And she just started talking about how timely God was. And I remember she told me, she goes, I bet Moses felt extremely alone in that season. But the word that God gave Moses in that season was take off your shoes because this is holy ground. So I wonder, like, if you're in a season of waiting and you feel like you're alone, it's actually not it's not lonely ground. It's holy ground. And the reason that it's holy ground is because God is actually with you. And I think oftentimes we get so desperate for what's next. We get so excited for what could be next because we think what's next is better. When really in the present, in the right here and the right now, we've already got the best. We've got God. We've got access to God in the waiting season. I just think that's the best way to wait.
I love that. The waiting season doesn't have to be a lonely one. You can lean on the people that are in your corner. You can
Yeah.
lean on God, obviously. And I just wonder, who are the people in your corner? For us, for example, in the context of our marriage, and I see this so often too, that happens in couples. Sometimes we think that like couples go through waiting seasons together, and that's true. Like, right? Like we're navigating certain seasons together as a couple, certain waiting seasons, we're navigating those together. But oftentimes there's like one person in a couple that's in a waiting season and the other one's not, or both of you are in a waiting season, but you actually don't process the weight the same.
Right.
You don't carry the weight the same. Maybe one person is the more anxious one who's like trying to plan and trying to figure everything out and do all the things and are trying to like, very solution focused. And the other person's kind of just like, let's just write this out. Let's believe, let's have faith. Everything's going to be okay. And what ends up happening is that as a partnership, as a couple, you don't end up supporting each other in the way that the other person needs.
Right.
Like, what do you need for support versus what do I need for support? Sometimes that looks very different.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Because like the way that you and I like support in seasons like
so
that
different.
are extremely different.
Yes.
So like I know for me, I appreciate more of like a passive support. Like I don't need someone like super on top of me or like asking me a billion questions. I just love to be,
That's interesting.
I just love to be with the person, but I love to process.
Yes.
I love to process. So
you like to talk.
Yeah. I don't need someone asking me a million questions, but like I just need you to be ready to hear what's on my mind. So
don't say anything, just listen.
Yeah. Just so I can process. And then when I process, let's just sit down and like not say anything.
Yeah.
Just like chill on the couch and cuddle and watch TV,
Yeah.
like that's the kind of support that I like. You're a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to process like actively. Well, first, sometimes I like to process on my own.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just need like some space.
Yeah.
And then you know what? It actually depends. It depends on the type of thing I'm waiting for.
Mm.
Sometimes I want your active support
Right.
and I want you to help me with all the little things and I want you to be there and I want you to,
Yeah.
talk to me and all the things.
Yeah.
And then other times I just need some space.
Right.
And I just need your presence and that's
Yeah.
it. I don't want to process.
So sometimes even just a simple question of, hey, what do you need in this season? Or how can I best support you in this season? How do you want me to check in on you? Like, how can I support? What is some load that I can, I don't know, remove off of you while you're in this season of carrying weight
Yeah.
while you're waiting? I think
Yeah.
sometimes just asking the question is helpful.
Yeah, and I think it's also important. I think we had always, I mean, we've been together for so long. We had always experienced the weight at different times.
Yeah.
And then it happened
Yeah.
where we both were in a waiting season at the same time.
Hello.
And we were like, hello.
Is anyone out there?
What's going on? Right?
Yeah.
And we both found ourselves in a low place at the same time, which was different.
It was different. And
Yeah.
you know what? I think we forgot that we had each other.
Yeah. Yeah. We tried to navigate those things individually because we didn't want to be a burden to each other because I knew you had a lot going on. You knew I had a lot going
And
on.
not only that, like we were also in a place where our capacity was low.
Yeah.
So it was like we were trying to figure out how do we self-regulate.
Yeah.
So not only do I have to worry about self-regulating, I got to worry about also thinking about how I show up for the other person. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes I can feel like pressure, but I think even just voicing that, like, hey, this is hard.
Hey, this is hard for both of us.
It's hard. Yeah, it's just hard for, can we just be in that place where
Yeah.
it's just hard for both of us?
Where we
And-
both have to have extra grace for each
Yeah,
other.
for sure.
Where we don't take it super personal when the
Yeah.
other person,
Right.
and the communication is so important in if you're in that season where both of you are low. Because if not, unfortunately, what can happen is that you two can become like enemies, right? When
Yeah.
actually you're a team and you need each other and you have each other for support and you end up becoming more weight on top
Right.
of your partner,
Yeah.
So communication is so important through that and just even vocalizing it,
Yeah.
just saying like, this is hard.
Right.
Like we do not know how to navigate this, but let's talk through it. Let's
Yeah.
have conversations through it. Bring me into your world and I'll bring you into my world with the little bit of capacity that we have.
Yeah.
I know when I'm low on capacity, I don't like to talk much.
Yeah.
I kind of just need space, but I have to challenge myself because if not, then you are in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I've loved this episode.
Yeah.
And I've loved this conversation so much that we've learned. We've learned that there's a blessing in the waiting season.
Yeah.
And sometimes the thing that you're waiting for is great, but sometimes the greater blessing is just in the process and in the journey because it's much more about who you're becoming than what you're wanting.
Yeah.
And it's more about your character. If God gave you the thing that you were wanting right now, would your character be able to sustain it? We've also talked about what are we actually waiting on? Are you waiting on a thing or are you waiting on someone? Because when you wait on a thing, on an opportunity, it can make you tired, it can make you anxious, it can make you frustrated. But when you wait on God, He gives you strength, He gives you perseverance, and He gives you the ability to just be in that moment. Also remembering that we're not alone in the wait.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Waiting seasons that feel lonely, they're actually holy ground. They're an opportunity for us to consecrate ourselves, get developed, spend time with God. And what a better opportunity, what a better time, what a better moment to strengthen friendships, to strengthen relationships, to strengthen your marriage, and be there to support one another.
Yeah, you're
through it.
always going to come out, greater on the other side, stronger on the other side, more united on the other side, so long as you wait well. And I think it's just so important to remember too that like God's not trying to deny you. He's developing you. You're not behind. You're being built in this season. Like there's great strength that you're building. Like I think of our journey, for example, through working out. Like we hate it. It's painful. We're sore. But our muscles are expanding. We're getting stronger every day. So we're being built. There's something being built on the inside of us. We're growing our capacity. We're getting stronger, more resilient. We're gaining perspective. I think it's just so important to navigate that season with that perspective, coming from that
100%.
place.
100%. So if I can leave you guys with one thing, if you're in a waiting season, just know that the dream is there to draw you, but the delay is present because God wants to develop you. We love you guys. We believe your best days are in front of you. We can't wait to see you for season 2, episode 2. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for?
That's
Go
right.
ahead and subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on the Tiki Talk. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on all the things and join in on the conversation because we believe conversations create change. We love you guys. We'll see you later.